Oh man.
Because he's such a dick. He's just what he is, which some people love, and I'm very happy for you. I'm very happy for you and your
I'm sorry. Voice. I like the bad voice.
Yeah, I know. Listen.
Hello, everyone. Guess what? We're doing another extra episode. Woo!
What?
Yes, so welcome back to our EX episodes and everything. It's me, Danny, and, you're probably wondering, also, obviously, you saw the title, but me and Mike from the Plummet are going to talk about Saint's power is omnipotent.
Ooh.
So, and here's Mike. Yep.
Hi, everyone.
Say hello. Say hello.
It's me, Mike.
A big formal introduction right there.
Beautiful.
I know. Yeah, so it was all thanks to Mike for introducing me to this show. And on the summit, I'm practically the only one watching it. So, and I always feel self-conscious of talking about a show that I specifically only watch. Because I'm just literally talking to myself. So I figured it was a good idea since Mike watches it as well. And I don't think you're going to be covering it on the Plummet either. So I figured, why not? Let's just sit down and talk about this show.
Well, you know what, Danny? I first off, you gotta get over that. Just talk, because I can't tell you how many crappy isekais I watched, and the other three are like, yeah, no, dog, I'm not watching that.
I'm not watching that shit.
I gotta talk about it anyways. So now we've created those little 1 minute reviews where we kind of force each other to talk about a real snap.
Yeah. I try and do that. We do that sometimes, but then my problem is I just filibuster and ramble on, and it's just okay, we gotta stop. We gotta move on. So
there's so much to talk about. Yeah, and honestly, this surprised me. This series kind of surprised me. It caught me off kind of caught me off guard. I was a big supporter on the first season. Also, can I mention one other thing? I don't want to shout out Zayla, because Zayla was also early on
yes.
Magic Power. But so I don't want to take 100% credit because Zayla was in there like a dirty shit.
Yes, absolutely. For sure. Yeah. I feel like the two of you always recommend me the isekais that aren't heavily isekai-esque anyway. So I feel like it's always the two of you that always tag me in something or whatever. So yes, definitely shout out to Zayla, because he also is a Saint's Power stan as well. So, but yeah, let's get into it. Obviously, links.animesummit.net is where you can all find content and socials and Discord, Patreon, everything, the whole nine. Buy a shirt, buy something off the merch store. I know she's about to drop a new design on the shop, and I know patrons get 15, I think it's either 10 or 15% off for the first week or something like that. So, but yeah, so let's talk about this now. Saint's magic power is omnipotent. Let's go.
Let's go say. Oh yeah, so it is. You kind of gave it away. It is an isekai. It's definitely got a light novel title to it.
Yes.
Which So this is. I can't remind me, how does Sei get transported?
I feel like it's the same typical trope of the other world performing a magic ritual to transport someone from another world type of thing.
Oh,
so
that's right. And she was like she was an office woman or something like that.
Yeah, she was like an office worker or something like that. And, you know, she was going home. And when she got home, you know, she's all, you know, she said that, you know, itadakimasu, like saying like, welcome, you know, I'm home. And she's all like, oh, but no one's here to greet me kind of thing. Yeah. So like you kind of saw like a little bit of the inside of her apartment and how like she just lives by herself and everything. And she's not happy what she's doing and everything. And then that's when the circle popped in and everything. And that's when she got transported. But not only did Sei get transported, but also Ira was another person from Japan who got isekai'd as well. So, and that's kind of like what happens in season 1. You know, season 1, Sei kind of gets not like exiled, not like how Shield Hero was, where like the 3 heroes kind of just like shunned the Shield Hero, like he's a piece of shit and everything like that. Like it's not like that. And like Sei doesn't have a grudge. I mean, in the beginning she just wanted to, you know, go home, but obviously they have no way of her to go home. So she's all like, well, if there's no chance of me going home, then I might as well just like look around. And that's when she kind of found the research institute where all the medicinal herbs were. And that's kind of like where she started working and stuff.
Yeah, there's a dramatic sort of like conflict at the beginning. That's all because I wanted to call him at first Prince Albert, but it's Prince Kyle, I guess, is the son.
Yes.
Prince Kyle, who instantly goes for the younger Ira, you know, and says, this must be the saint. Who is this old Baba? This old, I don't know if he actually calls it that, but this old hag. You know, so this must be, I don't know who she is. And Sei's just like, well, can you return me home? And they're like,
nope. Sorry, you're stuck here.
So what would you? And so they're like, well, we kind of feel bad. So what would you like to do? And she's like, well, I guess study something. How about herbalism?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, okay, we got this academy over here. You can go and check out. And then things progress from there. But let's shout out the fact the majority of the staff are actual adults. Or at least I think they're meant to be.
I mean, they're definitely like of age. I mean, I would probably say Liz is probably like 18 or 19 or something like that.
Yeah.
Same thing with.
They're not giving me an age for Albert. I mean, that's where I got the Albert from. Okay.
Yeah. There's no really like age. Like they don't really say that because this is like a world where it's very like ancient, like kingdom noble type of hierarchy and everything like that. I don't know if I'm using those terms correctly or anything, but it's definitely very different compared to like the modern world and everything. It's more like old timey, like 1500s-esque, where between like the nobles and the commoners and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, this definitely has less of a fantasy setting, albeit there's fantasy elements, and more of like a sort of historical, like medieval setting, because it's like there's not this focus on adventurers and exploring dungeons and stuff like that. It's more like the politics of the kingdom kind of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely more like slice of lifey, and it goes into like the whole you know, here's this herb and this herb was used to help blah blah blah, and So there's all that. It reminds me, I mean, it's similar to like parallel world pharmacy, where like that one was like about, a doctor and everything like that. And it's also the same thing with like Ascendance of a Bookworm. There are certain things that like would say, oh, like, well, this second season is a prime example. Say goes to like that market, like she and Jude go to that market to find coffee because there was a cafe, and Say was all like, oh my gosh, I haven't had coffee in like forever. And they were all like, you've had coffee before? Like, this is like, this is the first time this has been here and all that kind of stuff. And so they go to the market. She finds the coffee to like brew the latte or whatever and stuff. And, and it's the same thing like when she was looking for rice and she wanted to make, the Japanese, like one of her Japanese dishes and all that kind of stuff. So, and she even taught them how to use different herbs for seasoning in food, because in the first season she mentioned like, oh yeah, the food is bland here and like it's not very good. So, and then that's when like she started using the herbs to like season food and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
for sure. So that's like more of the slice of lifey kind of aspect of the show, but it's not the only thing. So as I mentioned early on, there's like the drama between deciding who the saint is, and honestly, that aspect of which wraps up neatly in the first season, that aspect wraps up really kind of like neatly. Like it almost like there isn't a huge amount of like challenge to it, I guess I want to say. But that was one of the things I found like the most interesting aspect of it early on, and then we get into what the reason they summon the saint, which is dealing with this sort of corruption that's happening in the world,
right, with like the monsters and the miasma and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and so we get a lot more of that, I feel like, in the second season. That it tends to be more of the focus of like, I guess the sort of like what is the obstacle in this arc of the story kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I will say, now I don't know how the light novel is, because this is based off of a light novel and it is currently it's still releasing and stuff with the show, and I feel like this is kind of where I'm like, I wish I had more of this. And the thing that I wish I had a little bit more of was, say, Drews and Albert going and traveling to the different areas where the miasma was. We did get that. We got that at the end of the first season, and then we did see a little bit more of them traveling to and purifying the lakes, the miasma lakes and everything. But I feel like, to me, I feel like they were a little bit out of place. Like they felt, because like the previous episode, Say was like, I don't know, out in the town looking for coffee beans and all that kind of stuff. And then the next episode, Say, you have to go and purify this miasma lake over in such and such. And then like the next day, the next episode, it's like, here's your welcoming party kind of thing. I was just like, it was a little choppy for me. I don't know if that's how you felt for you.
So I didn't know if we wanted to get into the weeds yet for second season, but definitely like second season didn't feel as strong overall as the first season. First season has so much better of a flow.
Yeah,
because we have we have the intrigue at the palace in determining like is Say the
saint. Yep. Because when Albert got hurt, say, who was it? Freaking, what's his name?
Yuri?
Johan. Johan is the director of the
yes.
that thing, the facility where Say works. He was suspicious of Say because Say's grade 1 potions were highly more potent and more effective than a grade 2 potion. So he was already suspicious of her being the actual saint to begin with. And their assumption became correct when Say rescued Albert Hawk when he was like literally on his deathbed and stuff. And, she used one of her potions on him. And that's kind of like when like the assumption that Say is the actual saint and not Ira. So, and that whole like, I wouldn't even call it a feud, but like Prince Kyle definitely made it into a feud and everything like that.
Yeah, he's a real brat. Like he was super brattish. Like to the point like he got so like obstinate about it that I think he gets disinherited and like exiled in the end because of his decision. I think.
Really?
Wasn't it?
I don't remember.
I think Say kind of asked for leniency or something like that. But
because it's all like, well, you didn't know and all that kind of stuff. So, plus Kyle, Elizabeth is betrothed to Kyle as well. So,
right. Oh, that's right. And then the whole thing is the fact that now he's spending way more time with this girl with
Ira.
World.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be betrothed to Elizabeth. And every time Elizabeth goes to approach them, he Kyle's like, "Get away from me, woman."
Yeah. So, which like honestly, I didn't mind that banter between like that drama in a way, because I feel like for me, when you have something like that gives out good storytelling.
Yeah, that's
so. Whereas, like, I feel, it was concluded, and then in the second season, you barely saw Prince Kyle at all, which I thought was a little strange. I don't know about you, but like, I kind of like he was nowhere to be seen and stuff.
No, yeah, you barely got to see Ira or whatever her name is, the other girl.
I've just been calling her Ira, so Ira. I have the A as a silent. I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Oh, terrible. You barely see her at all, and and I feel like they could have done something more with Tenyu, which is our like I feel like our newest potential.
Oh yeah, the fourth prince twice removed of that other country.
It's looking for a solution, and he's super suspicious about Say, and of course the kingdom is like, no, let's keep our cards close to our chests.
Yeah.
The fact that, anyways, so we don't. There's. I feel like there have been opportunities of him like trying to make a move. Like, well, he kind of does try to make moves on Say, but he's mainly just doing it to get like a potion or try to get Say to come back with him or whatever the case is.
Yeah, because like his mother has they said what her symptoms were, but I can't remember what they were.
Yeah, she's got some sort of disease that's incurable. And they're trying to find it, and then eventually Say goes like, "Oh, I know this really good alchemist, and they made a potion here for you."
Well, even though she's the one who knows how to make it, because she diagnosed, like Tenyu was telling Say the symptoms of what his mother has, and like Say was all like, "Oh, it's this. You can easily, make this, and that, and here, boom, the cure." Like. So, but obviously, like, they didn't want to, like, tell Tenyu, like, Say's the saint, and, she can do everything, and, her powers are omnipotent and stuff. So, but honestly, he knew, like, he ain't stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. He put two and two together, and it was kind of funny how the fact that he would not listen to anyone. He'd keep wandering and going like, "Oh, hi, Say. I just happened to be in
Yeah.
the neighborhood." It's like you're
Yeah.
not supposed to be in this building. Hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to visit? Oh,
So
anyways.
yeah. I mean, I enjoyed the second season. Like it was still like the same thing as the first season, but I think I enjoyed the first season a little bit more because of the controversies that were happening and the feud between Prince Kyle and Say, and the assumption of Say is Say the real saint, and everything like that. So
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious if there's better conflicts in the future, like meaning not necessarily just the action parts, because honestly, the action parts are the least interesting of this whole thing. But whether or not like you would get more drama later on,
yeah,
because
well, I
it was
mean,
pretty weak this season.
we definitely did get some high drama because like the king, he was talking with his uh what's his name? Oh, they don't show him in the character thing. But King Siegfried was talking to like his right hand man or whatever about the future of Say, and because like the reason why they did the summoning ritual was to get rid of the miasma, and now that the miasma is practically all gone, they're all like, what's the future of the saint now? And like that's when the whole like engagement came into play, and how like all the different nobles were like trying to set up Say with their family and everything like that. So there was some like mild drama, but I feel like it wasn't as heavy as the drama that was happening in season one, especially closer to the end with like that Say and Drew's going to the theater and stuff like that. So, which I'm a little disappointed. Like, out of all the outfits that Say has been in the second season, her dress when she went to the theater was the best one. Like her ball gown that she wore to like her welcoming party thing was like
up in the Hawk sort of territory.
Yeah, like that was like land. So mild that like she looked like a sunflower, like she's in all yellow. And then I don't know, her finale dress, like the one that she wore at the very last episode, it was okay, but like it was still to me I feel like it was a little too casual. But I don't know. I really liked her in that red and black dress, quite frankly.
So that's the one she went, okay, so we have a little bit of drama towards the end here in regards to the fact that she does not realize what significance it is to be invited to the theater by someone, right? And so Yuri does the whole, oh, I have a spare ticket because someone backed out. Do you just want to go? And Say's like, I don't really want to go with you, but like it'd be just rude to turn you down. And so she ends up going, and everyone's just like, oh, she's
everyone,
Drew's boy.
So I think, honestly, because Yuri is such like a sadistic character, because like
he's such a dick.
Low key, he's like my favorite boy out of the whole show.
I was trying to hold back and giving that away because I wanted you to do a ranking of it. But anyways, go ahead.
He's my favorite, but like I knew they were not going to like end up being together, because Yuri is just, he has no interest in romance. Like all he cares about is magic, and like he's very fascinated about where Sei comes from, because that's what happened. Like, Yuri was bored because it's all like, oh yeah, all the excursions and the miasma is all gone. Now what am I going to do, kind of thing. And then, he made that little paper airplane out of the invitation, and Naira comes in and she's all like, oh, what's this? And then elder brother Hawk comes in, is all like, you're supposed to be doing work. Why aren't you doing your work? And then they looked at the invitation and it's all like, oh, this is an invite to a play and stuff. And that's when they started talking about like, plays and everything. And I think that's when Yuri asked Ira, like, oh, do you have plays in your world? And she's all like, well, yeah, but I mean, I never went to one. So, and then that's when like he got the idea of like, oh, I'm going to invite Sei. And then that's when like heavy drama came into play and everyone started spreading rumors that the two of them were engaged and stuff.
I think it's Johan that kind of like tells Sei after the fact, like, just, do you understand what this kind of represents? Right?
Well, because he asked her, Jude has been wanting to like for us to go out to eat, like, do you have plans like on your next day off? Let's go out. And she's like, yeah, I mean, I am kind of busy. And that's when Johan was all like, oh, so where are you going? And she's like, well, I'm going to a play. And he's all like, oh, you are? With who? And she's all like, oh, with Drew's. And he's all like the camera just like closed in on Johan's eyes, and he's like, like suspicious kind of thing. And this is why I like Johan too, because like he looks out for his best friend. Like he is there for Albert, and it's so great.
Okay, so let's do it right now then. Let's ranking of boys. We already know what your number one is. So who's okay, so we're gonna have to include we're not gonna include Kyle because he's not really love inch. We'll put Tenyu, Jude, Johan, Yuri, and Albert in there. Am I missing any of them?
There's Earthheart, Albert's older brother.
If you want to put, he's kind of dreamy too, so if you want to put him in there, fine. What is the order?
Okay. Okay, it's gonna be Yuri, Albert.
I can live with being second. That's fine.
Johan is third.
Okay.
And then Earthheart is fourth, because his little fist bump underneath his desk, yeah, like that was so awesome. It was like, yes, that made me laugh.
He's so rooting for his younger brother. Like,
yeah, like you can tell. I was just like, yes, that's awesome. And then Jude, and then Tenyu, because I feel like Tenyu is last because like you only see him in that like short little bit. So yeah. So that would be my order of like best boys in this, because this is definitely like a reverse harem. Like there are many like pretty boys in this.
Yes. So like and there's some pretty girls too. I mean, you got Sei, who's like next door neighbor pretty, and then you have like Elizabeth, who's like that kind of gorgeous. But we're not doing swimsuit episodes. Like that's not this kind of. This is heavy shoujo like bent.
Yes, yeah. Also, Liz is definitely best girl too, because like even though she barely gets enough screen time in season 2, but like when in season 2 when they were like doing that tea party and Liz was like telling Sei like, you have to think about your engagement and like who you're going to be with and stuff like that. Like, obviously I know you like Albert, so why don't you just freaking tell him? Like, she's just like, come on, chop chop. Like, so Liz definitely had some really good moments towards the end, especially when like those rumors were going around and like those maids were all like squealy and giggly and talking about, the engagement, and Liz was all like, so did you like see them together, or like did you just hear this from a friend from a friend from a friend? And they're like, oh well, we didn't actually like personally see them. And she's like, oh, okay, well then, how do you know that it's like, she really like shot them down like in a like polite manner. I was just like, yeah, Liz, you're the best.
Oh my gosh.
So, but who's your best boy ranking?
Oh,
I did mine, so now you gotta do yours.
I do. I just did that to pick on you. I didn't expect to actually have to answer this. It is going to be Albert, Johan. I think I'm going to go with Jude, just because Jude's always been. Jude is like this is sort of like the attaboy. At some point you'll find a nice for yourself, because you had no chance in hell, but at least you were the first one to kind of like
he like became he definitely was like strong like BFF to say in the beginning, and like he really helped her out, like he taught her a bunch of stuff too, which is awesome and everything. I do kind of wish that like we had, again, like I feel like they cut, I mean, I never read the light novel, so I don't know what goes on in the light novel versus what the anime did, but I feel like they just cut out a bunch of stuff, in my opinion.
You hardly get a peek at him in second season, but he gets friend zoned pretty darn quick. Like he's he never has a chance in hell at that. Earnhardt, Tenyu, you're right. I think he's he's got a secret bratty side to him, which I think would make him more appealing in the future, but he kind of doesn't really get too much. And then last but not least is Yuri on the bottom.
Oh, man.
Because he's such a dick. He's basically just what he is, which some people love, and I'm very happy for you. I'm very happy for you and your sadistic
I'm sorry.
boyfriend.
I like the bad boys.
Yeah, I know. Listen, this is tangential, but there's new recommendations coming your way. I think I mentioned it already. 7th Time Loop. Which is not an isekai per se. It's just like it's someone that keeps reliving their life. Has very shoujo vibes like this, and in the 7th time she gets proposed to. Spoiler, I guess, for the first episode, she gets proposed to by the man that ends up killing her the previous 6 times.
Oh, great. Awesome.
Yeah, so like total like, and trust me, he's got some vibes to him, if you know what I mean. So it may be of interest. I'm not saying you have to, but just, anyways, let's
think about it. Let's go back to Sting. Let's go back to Sting.
Danny always still reluctant to try anything out that we suggest. It's funny.
You just gotta poke at me a couple more times, and then I'll be like, fine, I'll try it. And then all of a sudden, I may change my mind.
All right.
So is there anything that like, I know I said like my like flaws about the second season. What about you?
No, I have a lot of the same issues. It felt more meandering. It felt like we didn't have the sort of drama that the first season had to kind of strengthen it. Like we have the opening arc with Tenyu, which was kind of interesting. And then it feels a bit meandering as we go up to see the Hawk territories and meet the family there and stuff like that. And, that's nice and all. And then we're into like fighting the big finale for the miasma and all the sort of closeness, like how deadly that gets. And that just doesn't have, I don't know why, it just didn't feel like it had the gravitas with that part.
I mean, It kind of did, but like again, I feel like it was so congested. Because I mean, they did like I would say I think they did maybe like 3 episodes for that like so-called little arc and everything, or maybe like 2.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly how many.
I think it was just 2, but yeah, and like I feel like that's what I mean by like the whole, oh, you know, Say is gonna go fight some miasma, and then they do like 2 episodes of it, and then boom, it's back to like slice of lifey,
Yeah.
Say and Albert going on their little date and everything. It's all, I mean, I don't mind that. That's fine. But like it was just like I feel like it was too quick. And and I feel like this is what I have slight issues when it comes to isekais in particular. This is kind of what I had a problem with Parallel World Pharmacy, is when like the big bad came into play, and what's his name?
Oh, jeepers. Yeah, there's too many shows.
Pharma, when he was like gonna fight the big bad, and that it was just like less than a second that happened, and it's all like boom, it's gone. It's like that's it. That like we're not gonna like see any struggle or anything like that. Even though I feel like Saint's Power did it better, because there was a time where when they defeated that like undead boar kind of thing, and they thought like, oh yay, it's done, and they were leaving the mine, and then Say like fell down into like, because they were walking on a bridge and the bridge broke, and that's when like Say fell, and that's when like Albert was all like Say, and like they were looking for her, and then when they found her, they found like the big miasma lake, and then they were fighting that undead dragon and stuff. So like that was like oh yeah, no, what true. Are they gonna do kind of thing. So but again, like I feel like there weren't enough stakes for it to be like oh no, like are they going to make it out of here alive kind of thing. I don't know. I feel like also, this may sound morbid, but I kind of wish that they would have lost a couple more men during the battle.
Yeah, there was so much potential for like conflict, and Say not being able to save everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just the fact that like, but I guess, I mean, then she wouldn't be omnipotent or whatever. Her power wouldn't be omnipotent. I don't know. But like, it's just,
once a person's dead, like there's no way of getting them back, really. Like even if you have omnipotent power, like dead is dead. Like unless you're in a video game and you give like someone a phoenix down, then they'll revive. Then they'll revive. So, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I definitely. I appreciate like these isekai shoujo slice of life shows for the slice of life stuff, but when they try to mix in action, they really rush through, and they don't focus on the battles so much, and they just like bing bang boom, okay, here comes Say to save the day. All right, it's done. Let's move on. Like, here's the dinner and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. It's a little weird for me sometimes when they do that.
I agree. Especially if you're used to more of like a shonen sort of pacing, where something like that you'd build up, like the entire season would build up to, and it would take multiple episodes just for the like it, the way sometimes isekais handle it, where it's just like, it's one and done. But yeah, so let's move past the big conflict. Let's just end it off of like the final of season 2, because it kind of leaves it's very cute, but it leaves questions, because we already discussed like about going to the theater and stuff like that.
Yes.
But you mentioned the fact that in the final, I think, is it the final episode? Yeah, it's the final episode. Not Ethan Hawke. I was going to say Ethan. Albert Hawke invites Say.
He's your number one, and you can't even remember his name.
You're just as bad as me. Whatever, get out of here.
Okay, hold on.
Or is it? No, sorry. I guess it's Nick that's the one that can never.
Nick is the one who's all like that blue-haired guy or that blonde guy.
Yeah. Sorry, take it back then, Danny. Okay. He takes Say out on a date. They go up to that hill where there's all the fireflies and stuff like that, or whatever. I forget exactly what it is.
It was like a botanical garden, and that was infused with like magic or something like that. And because so the reason why that happened was because Yuri was so fascinated on how the saint's power works. And we found out how the viewers found out how the saint's power works. And how the saint's power works is if the saint is in love with somebody, that's how the saint's power comes into fruition. So, and Yuri wanted to find that out and how it worked, and he figured it out. And he even asked Say about it. Like, I know how it works. Like, you need to be in love with someone. And like, she got like all flustered. She's like, what? No, I don't know how it works. It just happens, all of it, all at once and everything. But Yuri, like, he knew about it. So, and I think that was the push that Albert needed, because when he walked away from Say, he like walked past Albert and he said something to Albert. And I think what he said to Albert was, I know how Say's power works, and she's in love with you. And that's how her power it comes into fruition. Because that's kind of what he hinted at to the elder brother, Earthheart. Because Earthheart even asked Yuri, like, what did you say to my brother, kind of thing. And he's all like, nothing important, like, and I think they were like talking about like, oh, so are you gonna pursue Say or something like that? And Yuri was all like, no, I just finally figured out how the saint's power works. And like, he didn't actually say it, but like, even Earthheart kind of figured it out too. And that, Say was also in love with Albert. So, so I think that's when Earthheart was always like rooting for his little brother and everything like that, which I love that. I was just like, oh. So
we get the date. And what happens on this date, Danny? Should we? Okay. First off, obviously we spoiled pretty much everything up to this point. This is like the last episode of the second season.
Yeah.
So if you really,
if you haven't figured out that we were going to say spoilers in this, then what are you even doing here? I'm sorry.
Oops. Spoilers. All right. So what happens in the final date, Danny?
Albert confesses to Say and asks her to marry him. Finally.
Yay! And then they get down and dirty in the botanical. No, I'm just joking.
Whoa, this isn't an ecchi story. No. This is a shoujo story.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't do that. They hold hands.
There's just bubbles and birds and stuff floating around. And roses. Yeah. So we get Hawk proposing to Say, and then it ends.
It ends. Yeah, it says fin at the end, which means ends. And yeah.
And I'm like, so that's why before we start recording, I said, do you know if this is all there is? But you mentioned the fact that the light novel is still going. And so
yes,
what do you think now? Do you think that would you like to see more of the anime, or are you okay with what we saw? And you think that
Um,
it concluded nicely?
so as an advocate who watches a lot of shoujos, um, typically now it may change because we are actually getting a third season of From Me to You, which is another romance that I particularly favor, and Gizmo also favors as well. Um, Typically, shoujo romance anime don't always get long running series like shonen does. They typically either stick with a first season or two seasons, depending on what it is. But you rarely ever see a romance or even a slice of life have more seasons than just two. So my theory, I don't think we will be getting any more after this, because this season two, it definitely ended like how any other traditional romance show ends, is like with the confession and everything like that, and they live happily ever after kind of thing. So I don't know. I really don't know. Is it intriguing me to pick up the light novel? Yeah, absolutely. Because I want to see, Albert and Say's journey now. What happens to Say? Because Say's mission is supposedly completed. Like, the whole point of the saint is to get rid of the miasma. And now that the miasma is gone, what is Say to do? Because throughout, after that whole thing, especially between the final act of the miasma till the last episode, even Say herself was kind of struggling on what she wants to do. And everyone kept telling her about yeah, you need to think about who you want to, be married to and spend the rest of your life with and everything. And she's all like, but I don't want to, I can't picture myself falling in love and being engaged and everything like that, because she's never experienced that. So I feel like she was scared of change and everything, where she was just where she was right at that moment was she was comfortable. She was comfortable researching. She was comfortable making potions and helping people. That's where she was. That's where her comfort zone is. Whereas this new obstacle, and she couldn't handle her feelings on what was going on with Albert and everything. And she couldn't, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it. I can't think of it. I guess she was terrified of her true feelings for Albert. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't think we're going to get a third season. I would be surprised if we did get a third season. I would be very surprised. Absolutely, 100%. I would be super surprised if we did. I don't know what that would entail, because obviously the true purpose of Say's power has been concluded. So what else is there to talk about? So that's kind of why, when I watched that final episode and it said the end, I was like, is the light novel done? And that's kind of when I went to AniList and I saw that it's still releasing. I'm all like, oh, okay. So what is there to talk about? So I don't know. Know.
Because part of the thing is it is a reverse harem, but this kind of settles it, because Johan and all the rest of them are not going to make a move.
Right.
So it's not like we're going to see her going on a date with Johan, her going on a date with Yuri, whoever, right?
Right.
Because she's now officially engaged. So it makes me wonder if why second season felt rush is because they tried to pack, knowing full well they only got another season left to do it. They tried to hit major story beats real quick to get to that engagement, which is close to the end. And maybe what it is, they're just going to sort of like have another novel showing,
like the wedding or whatever, or like that leads up to it.
The wedding or something, and miasma attacks. I don't know, whatever silliness, and Say's in her wedding dress battling miasma.
So funny,
I don't know what silliness, but that's what kind of came to my mind. But part of me was like, I'm not ready to close the book on this series. I don't know. Like, also part of me is like, you want to give me like married life, say as a mother, like a saint mother, like,
or like because like when Yuri was talking about when the discussion of the play was being had, Yuri was so fascinated on the other world, like Say's world and Ira's world. I'm almost curious on whether Yuri makes an attempt to get summoned to Say's world just to see what it's like, and Say goes on that adventure with him, kind of thing.
Yuri would hate it because no magic.
Either he would hate it or he would just find it so fascinating, because they were talking about, because when they were at the play and they were waiting for the play to start, Say mentioned of the chandelier and how like the chandelier was, it was how it was produced by magic. And Yuri asked her like, oh, when you went to plays, like, I assume like you used candlelight to, turn on those types of chandeliers and stuff. She's like, well, yeah, back in the day, in the olden times, but now, it's a little bit more convenient. There's like, and she didn't mention like, oh yeah, there's this thing called electricity, and like, you just install wires in the walls and to have it connect to the light to this light switch, and that's how it turns on and stuff like that. So she didn't like say it like that, but she did talk about like, yeah, you can turn on a light with like a press of a button, and there's also like dimmers or like light changers and stuff like that. So but I don't know.
I can see Yuri becoming like a smarmy like CEO, like all of a sudden they're like, where did Yuri go? And he's like he's like the head of Hitachi, or something like that in Japan or something. And it's just like he's rocking like a suit and like those like sunglasses.
Oh my gosh. I mean, he would look good in a suit. He looked good in his little outfit that he had when he went to the play. Although like the black looked weird with his blue hair. I don't know. Yeah. And like with the hint of red, I was just like, just stick with your dark blues there, buddy. So
when I saw that, I was thinking of you. I was like, oh, I bet this is eye candy for her. Anyway,
that's so funny. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna get. I would love to. Like, I agree with you. I would like to. I'm not ready for this story to end. I would love more stuff, but us getting an anime out of it, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, we might have to hit up the
the light novel. Yeah, absolutely.
Light novel for that. Do you have any other thoughts, or do you want to move on to maybe we'll give some ratings? We never talked really about season 1 per se, so you can do one for each or one for the whole thing or whatever you want. I would say let's do what we rated season 1 and and how it affected us rating season 2, and then I guess we can do like as a whole, like a one whole rating. We can do that. Okay.
So final thoughts. I mean, again, like I did enjoy the story and stuff. I'm so happy that you and Zayla introduced me to this story, because I definitely would have not picked it up if it wasn't for like you saying, yeah, it's an isekai, but it's barely an isekai, like, you know. So yeah, so thanks for that. Season 1, I gave it an 8 out of 10. Say wearing her nerdy glasses, I guess. I don't know.
I gave it, okay, so if I go by that, I gave it an 8.5. Say rolls around on the bed flustered.
Okay.
Out of 10. They'll roll like one roll back forth.
Yeah, like her
half roll at the end, you know.
Yeah. That's so funny.
And that was for this first season as well. What about for second season?
So second season, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10.
So this is where we kind of swap, because I gave it a 7.2. 7.2 say blushes out of 10.
Oh, well. Yeah, I mean, it's like I think we're both in agreement that season 2 was great, but I don't think it was as great as the first season. So, but yeah, but as a whole, I think I'm going to give it an 8. 8. I can't think of anything. I guess 8. Yuri suspiciously being sadistic over Say's magic out of 10. There we go. I don't know.
And I give it. Do I keep it 8? Like, really, if I average them out, it should be like 7.9. We're gonna round it up to 8. We're gonna say 8. Shocked swordsmen who got their arm healed out of 10.
Oh yeah, that was nuts.
For the whole season.
See, yeah, I want more of that. I want more limbs being chopped off and then miraculously getting put, like, reappearing again.
Yeah. Let me just reattach that for you. Here you go.
Yeah. Even though we don't have the other limb, it's fine. We'll just make you a new one.
My power is omnipotent after all.
Yeah.
Turns into like Doogie Howser MD, but it's like say omnipotent healer.
That's so funny. Yeah, so thank you, Mike, for setting some time to talk about Saint's magic powers on Omnipotent. And it's always fun to talk about things that not everyone talks about, and it's only like a small group who talks about a show and stuff. So I
hope this finds some fans out there of the series.
Yeah, I know Bobman, he mentioned that he started it and stuff. I can't remember what his thoughts were or something. I would have to look it up on Discord. So
I feel like I do recall him saying
I think he like tagged you, me, and Zayla about it, and I think I was at work at the time when I saw it, and I had to do like a quick response, and like that was that. So, but yeah, definitely if you're interested in if you're like me and you're not like a huge isekai fan and everything like that, but like you still like that romance type of feel, definitely check this show out. It's pretty great. And Mike, do you have anything you want to plug for the Plummet or anything like that?
Nah, it's fine. We do enough. So check out Anime Summit and Plummet on their respective feeds. Yeah, that's about it. I don't know.
Mike's like, okay, I'm ready to go. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.